I challenge you to look 30, 50 years in the future. What do you see? Do you see a utopian society? Or do you see a world where we've wasted all of our fossil fuels and there's war and devastation of the remaining oil? It's scary to think about, but our future might look more like Mad Max than a utopian society. Now, we as a nation and a species need to invest more into non-fossil fuels, and I think nuclear energy is one of our best sources. My uncle is a nuclear physicist, and I'm studying nuclear engineering, which gave me an interest in the topic. Now, our choices have effects for all future generations. There are a lot of nuclear power plants at risk of closing down in the next 5 to 10 years, and we need to reinvest in them now. Nuclear is one of the best sources of energy because of the basics of the nuclear reactor and the sustainability, its superior efficiency, and is one of the healthiest options for the Earth. Now, first I will explain uranium and how a nuclear reactor actually works. The Canadian Nuclear Association presents this chronology. So first, handlers load uranium into what they call a reactor core, and then they throw neutrons at the uranium, which then splits and then gives out more neutrons and energy. And these neutrons cause a chain reaction, causing more to split and causing more energy. Now, this core is in a moderator, which is water, and it dulls down the reaction. There are also operators who constantly have control rods, which are absorbing more neutrons and slowing down the reaction. There's also more coolant, which is used as an assurance measure, and is water. And then this water is turned into high pressure steam. This steam then goes to the turbine, and it spins the turbine, causing mechanical energy. This mechanical is turned into electrical energy from the electrical generator, and this electricity is sent to you for you to turn your lights on. Now, there are also new safety measures being taken in all of the new nuclear power plants. The Federation of Electric Power Corporations in Japan actually put out plants designed to prevent potential abnormal incidents and radioactive leakage. They do this by 3 steps. 1, a quick shutdown. 2, a quick cool down. And 3, containing all radioactive materials. Now, they also monitor the environment with Geiger counters and soil samples all the way around the nuclear reactor just to make sure that there are no additional harm. Next is sustainability. So Forbes author James Conca says that nuclear energy is classified as sustainable energy because there's an abundance of uranium found in uranium mines. But it could become a renewable energy source because there is an abundance of uranium in the ocean. There's actually an estimated 4.5 billion tons of uranium in the ocean. And because it's created in the ocean by a chemical reaction, when we extract uranium from the ocean, it is then replenished, and thus creating a renewable energy source. So the process for nuclear energy goes through a lot of safety inspections and checkpoints. And it also could be a renewable source, but is it efficient? Once established, nuclear energy is one of the most efficient and reliable sources we have. Energy prices are unstable, and we need a long-term source of efficient energy to have this solution. If we invest in nuclear energy, it will cause the long-term energy bill to go down. Uranium provides more energy per pound than coal and oil, and costs much less to produce. The Energy Services International say that the average capacity of a nuclear reactor is 91% compared to all the other sources of energy. That's astounding. Now, the Nuclear Energy Institute says that it's not only good for efficiency, but it also is a huge boost to the economy and the workforce. It creates lots of jobs, and the workforce would be greatly affected if nuclear power plants started to shut down. As you can see, it provides 500 jobs per 1,000 megawatts of energy, and this is much more than any of the competing energy sources. Now, the initial startup cost of a nuclear energy plant is high, admittedly yes, but the running expense is very low. There is a very low cost for running an energy plant, and the old energy plants had a lifespan of 5 to 60 years, but the new ones coming out are will last for even longer. Now, even if the uranium price rises, such a small amount of raw material is needed for the actual plant that it doesn't even matter. Only 28 grams of uranium produce the same amount as 100 tons of coal. And also, this cuts down the transportation cost by a lot. Next, we move on to reliability. Now, Stanford doctorate student Ty Thomas wrote that Nuclear energy can be produced at any time and seldom shuts down for anything but maintenance. The steady, efficient supply of powerful energy has a low fuel cost and is very important to the economy. Now, solar doesn't really work at night, and wind power only works when it's windy. Hydroelectric power is location-based and can only supply power for cities that are near powerful stream currents. A huge benefit of nuclear power is the independence. There are no pipelines, no gas contracts, and the price stability doesn't really matter because uranium is needed in such small quantities. This gives us grid stability with a constant supply of power from a nuclear power plant that's producing 24/7. The price stability is more solid for any of the non-renewable sources for the next 5 to 10 years anyway. Nuclear energy has a lot of advantages: superior efficiency and reliability. But what are the environmental impacts? Now, we know we need alternatives to fossil fuels. Cars produce toxic gas, and CO2 is the leading cause of global warming. And coal and oil cause and add to this production of CO2. Nuclear has no adverse effects on the land, water, and the habitats in nearby spaces of the plant. Now, we cannot continue fossil fuels. Climate change affects all of our future generations, and nuclear energy is the answer. Nuclear energy is the alternative to the alternative. Solar, wind, and hydropower are great, but it's not an either-or logical fallacy. I support all alternative sources of energy. It's just that nuclear is the most powerful and most efficient. Nuclear energy already provides 56% of carbon-free electricity in America. Now, the National Energy Institute says that every year nuclear energy saves our atmosphere 555 million tons of CO2. That's the same as 117 million cars taken off the road. According to the Energy Information Administration, nuclear energy is our largest clean energy source. Now, the future of clean energy rests in our hands. The Japan Times said that Southeast Asia is fully reinvested in nuclear energy. We cannot be left behind in the clean energy revolution. America should be paving the way for clean energy. Now, one big thing in the nuclear field is the idea of a pebble bed. And another Stanford doctoral student, Fran Tu, informs us that the pebble bed reactor is uranium encased in a graphite coating and then a silicone ceramic outside, which allows it to self-cool in case of a disaster and also allows reusability. Clean energy is imperative for our future generations and for us to be using. Nuclear energy is efficient and clean, and with new innovations on the way, can lead to a huge expansion. In conclusion, we don't want to be the generation that wastes all of our Earth's fossil fuels, spoiling all of the natural fuel. We must find a better path. Nuclear energy is a sustainable, renewable energy source, and it is very highly efficient, and it's most reliable of any of the renewable sources. Also, it is one of the most environmentally friendly sources of energy we have. Where do we picture ourselves 30 to 50 years from now? If we invest in nuclear energy, we can paint the picture ourselves. Thank you.